Today we're going to take a look at a play out of the Pittsburgh Steelers playbook, and the formation is ace pair flex, better known to most people as ace pair chief. Probably my most popular and most effective scheme that I've done over the past couple of years. Now we are going to do something a little different this time. You know, last year I showed 3 videos showing maybe 4 or 5 plays per video, 45 minutes each, which was a lot for you guys to digest and then take that to the field. You know, listening to me talk about why I do this and why I do that and why I throw this route and all these different route combinations, and it's tough. So now what we're going to do is every couple days I'm going to release one play at a time, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to take that one play and just master it over 2 days. You know, just get to own it, understand everything about it, and then by the time the second play comes out, you're ready. And then now you've got 2 plays to go with. You get to own that play, just master everything about it, and then the third play, and so on till about 2 weeks later, you're going to have every single play, and you're going to have a full scheme that you can use for the rest of the year. I think this is really good. I think it's actually better than the last couple ace pair chiefs that I've done, which is ridiculous to say because that Madden 12 ace pair chief was incredible. So that's how we're going to do things this year. It's going to be about 6 or 7 videos over a 2-week span or something like that, and it's going to allow you to just really own the formation on your own by being able to master each play one by one. The other thing I'm going to do that's different is I have a friend that lives in Ottawa. He's not a very good Madden player, but he comes over every once in a while, plays on his gamer tag while we're just hanging out, and I taught him this scheme. And I thought it was a really cool idea to do that because he's not a very good player at all, and I thought, what if I could try to teach someone how to run this in person just the same way that I do on a video. So I taught him, and he went into ranked games and unranked games. And what I would do is we'd look up his opponent's record just to get an idea, you know, if he's playing somebody good or not. And some guys he'd play, you know, weren't very good. They'd be like 40 wins and 50 losses last couple of years. But then sometimes he would play guys that had like 1,000 rating points, which doesn't mean much to me, but in the ranked game world, apparently that is quite a big deal. So what I did was I added my gameplay footage. I had a ton of gameplay footage and his. I recorded every game, and we're both using the same team, and I really thought it would be cool for the first time ever to add 2 different perspectives of using the scheme. A good player, I guess you could call myself a pretty decent player, and then a not so good player. He's self-admittedly not very good at the game, and he did really well with this scheme, and I just wanted to show you guys that. Anyway, so the first play that we're going to look at is a play called PA Steal or Sail, which does a really nice job against man and zone defense. Also, if you're going to use a custom playbook, then the formation you're going to want to look for is the formation twin tight end chief. So now we're going to take a look at the different setups that I have. This is my main setup, B on a flat and RB on a whip. So as we go through these, just take a look at all the different setups that I have. These are in order of my favorite different route combinations that I like to put in. You're going to see in the gameplay footage how we utilize each route. We're always going to leave X and A as is. They're going to be on the C routes every single time that we run this play. And if they're blitzing heavy, then we're going to just leave RB in to block. So the first route we're going to take a look at is the C route run by our tight end on the right side of the field. Absolutely love this to murder zone defense all day long, and the only real way that it's going to be stopped is if a user defender makes a play on the ball. Even with 2 CPU defenders in that area and it's zone defense, they're really not going to be able to make a stop. Even with a user defender in that area of the field, I find that the depth and the speed at which this tight end cuts towards the middle of the field is really hard to judge when our opponent hasn't really seen it before. And call me crazy, but I also think that this is a very smart route. I just feel like anytime my opponent is using that area of the field, that if he's using down low, then the route is going to cut at a higher depth to get in behind the user defender. And if the user defender is playing up high, then he's going to cut in at a lower depth. Could be totally way off, but I swear that's exactly how it feels. So just take a look at the gameplay footage and see if you can notice that happening. I mean, I'm only showing a few examples here, but that definitely is the feeling that I'm getting. Now, I'd say the reason that I'm showing this particular play first is I do find that it is the most complete play out of the ace pair chief scheme that I'm going to show you guys. Normally you think, okay, well, we have 2 C routes, okay, so they're both man beaters. Well, the great thing about this play is one of them beats man and the other one beats zone. Now, we can definitely beat man or zone with either of them, but just the way that the X route and the way that people play defense, the C route on the left, as you can see right there, I mean, it's going to be hard to throw into zone coverage, right? That's what you're going to get the majority of the time, but if it's zone defense here again, just take a look at the X all the time. It's going to be tough to beat zone with that X route, but A is going to be open all day long. Setting it up the way that I do with the B route on the left on a flat and the RB route on a whip on the right side of the field, that allows us to have a man beater and a zone beater on the left and a man beater and a zone beater on the right. And just having that at our disposal along with these two extremely effective C routes here, even against zone coverage, I just kind of roll out, wait for it to get open on 3rd and 8, and just throw a completion. Here, with the game on the line, 6 seconds to go, my favorite route, touchdown. So now let's take a look at the X receiver running the C route on the left side of the field and the separation that we're going to get against man coverage. Absolutely 100% of the time, this is going to be a complete pass against man defense if they make no adjustments, if they don't user that area of the field. As you can see here, we flip the play just to confuse our opponent a little bit, and it's going to be wide open all day long if it's not making the right adjustments or not using it. That's about as close as they're going to get. 2 yards of separation, and they're still not going to be able to click on and be able to make a play, even though they're desperately trying to do so. Got to put a yellow, got to user that area, got to do something, or it's just really not going to be that difficult. Just love the dual C routes. I mean, like I said, one against man, one against zone. So not really much more that I could say, but I do think that this is a great place for you guys to start with this scheme, with this play. Even underneath, look at the yellow route, the Y route, the running back. If they're not blitzing, he's going to come free open. So that's another option we have against man defense. There on 4 and 3, we actually throw it against zone. So just to show you that it's not strictly man defense. I mean, zone is a lot tougher to the X receiver, but it's not out of the question. I mean, here they only have a couple of defenders over there. There was like one zone defender, and it was 3rd and 3, and we were able to pick up a 1st down. But if it is man defense, I mean, it's just going to be 100% there again on 4th and 6. So absolutely love the dual C routes, and now we're going to move on to the next route. Now, as much as I love the dual C routes and the fact that we can abuse our opponent with those particular receivers all day long, what really makes this play as effective as it is the B receiver on the left and RB, the tight end, on the right. The things that we can do with these two routes just really is going to confuse our opponent. This isn't even taking into account all the other plays that we're going to run in the same formation, giving the same look. They're never going to know what play we're calling other than one play that we'll get into on another day. But this is just going to be so confusing. And like I said, the things that we can do with these particular receivers, putting B on a flat route, once he's wide open, we just throw him the ball, we let the computer take the first couple steps upfield, then we take control of the receiver. By letting the CPU do that, all that's going to do is allow us to get upfield quicker, and then we can try to make a play and pick up more yards. Once they start to try to clamp down on the flat route, on top of the fact that we got the dual C routes, then we're going to be like, okay, well, you want to do that? Let's put B on a streak, make one false move like you do right there down to the flat, and we just tap that button, and we hit Mike Wallace, our fastest receiver. Whatever receiver you want to put there, make sure he's your fastest guy. And we're just going to be like, again, he cuts down low, and we just tap that button, and it's a wide open completion. Not to mention, we can mix it up again by doing other things. I mean, whether it's a streak, whether it's a flat, we can put B on a drag route. It's very subtle, but it's just that one little difference that when we run that play, it's going to be all the difference in the world, especially if we run it 3 times in a row and our opponent is really trying to stop it. One thing I noticed just before I completed this scheme is that in this play only, putting RB on a drag and B on a slant, the separation he gets is ridiculous. Take a look at this. That's man defense. We got about 15 yards of separation. I noticed that in practice mode. B on a slant in some of the other plays isn't really that great, but here, look at this. Just murdering man defense. It does a pretty good job against zone as well. I mean, just like any slant. At some point they're going to get open. But B on a slant against man-to-man defense and RB on a drag, deadly. Now RB on a whip route, okay, so I guess I cut that off a little too early. Anyway, that's supposed to be RB on a whip route. And like I said, we've got a man beater and a zone beater on the left. We've got a man beater and a zone beater on the right. We're always going to keep the dual C routes as is. We're never going to change them. It just becomes about what we're going to do with these other two receivers. If we put RB on a whip route and he's wide open, we're going to pass lead up trying to pick up extra yards. There, if you take notice, there are user defenders trying to cover that C route. He calls man coverage. He knows that the X receiver is going to be wide open, so he tries to cover him. All we do is we go to our second man read, which is the RB on the whip. If they play zone defense, again, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to look at our number one zone beater, and if he's covered, if there are user defenders in that area, we're just going to check down to our number two zone beater. And, you know, I mentioned earlier that this route beats man, this route beats zone, but there's always going to be certain things that you can do to beat man or zone, like a slant route beats man or zone. It just kind of depends. A drag route there beats man or zone. An out route, an in route, they beat man or zone. So you can always just change it up. And the key thing is that as long as we have those dual C routes, our opponent's really going to be scratching their head. They're not going to know what to do. We're always going to have somebody to throw to. So many times I saw myself going like 21 of 23 passing, 25 of 25 passing. Just so many things that we can do. Here we put B on a slant. We see that it's being user defended, so we just throw underneath the drag. Also, don't forget about the running back out of the backfield. He's going to be open from time to time, and it's never a bad idea to add another dimension to the play, even though these other routes, as you can see, are wide open, and we can easily hit them. If we throw to the running back, that's basically just adding another dimension that our opponent's going to have to think about.